It's a fun fact that it's the only country in the world which stretches across two continents, Europe and Asia. Or do you know that one of the oldest known cities was here, or that there's a lake so salty that sometimes it turns pink? From breathtaking fairy chimneys in Cappadocia to the legendary ruins of Troy, here is a land where history and nature collide in the most spectacular ways. This country just surprises you every corner. Ancient temples, turquoise coastlines, and mysterious legends waiting for exploration. It's one of those places from which you will fall in love. Never mind the breathtaking natural beauty, though that has a lot to do with it. The country stretches across the two continents, Europe and Asia. It's rather a mixed place representing various cultures, histories, and landscapes. You may find yourself standing in a busy modern city like Istanbul one minute, and the next, you're exploring some ancient ruins that have seen thousands of years of history. It's indeed a place where the past feels alive, and every corner you turn has a story waiting to be told. Maybe the reason why Turkey is so special lies in its geography. It actually sits between two worlds, Europe and Asia, and that molded the country in a way that's hard to describe, but it can be seen in the architecture, felt in the traditions, and tasted in the food. It is this rich and intricate character that Turkey offers, derived from the blend of the cultures, religions, and empires that have called it home over the centuries, from the Romans to the Byzantines to the Ottomans. Take Istanbul, for example. It is the heart of Turkey, yet a city that lives as a breathing museum of the most powerful empires of the world. Walking through this city is turning the pages of a history book. This divided Bosphorus Strait has been a trade route and strategic passage for thousands of years. Then, of course, there is Hagia Sophia, an absolutely beautiful building started as a Christian cathedral in the Byzantine Empire, turned into a mosque during the Ottoman era, and currently transformed into a museum. One cannot help but feel the weight of history when one stands in a place that has hosted so many great events which have witnessed the transformation of the world. But that's not all there is. Go a bit further into the country and you see loads of other phenomenal sights, of which will show you why this area has such massive history and beauty. Among all these places, one place is Ephesus. Once on Earth, a thriving city of commerce and all forms of culture. Walking through Ephesus ruins is like walking back in history itself. The streets, lined with columns and remains of grand buildings, still have the voices from the people who lived there and worked there. The great theater of Ephesus can hold up to 25,000 people. It reminds you just how important this city was. It wasn't a forum only for plays, but also for public discussions and decision-making. Another highlight in terms of its intricately designed facade, representing some form of architectural brilliance of the ancient world, is the Library of Celsus. One can almost see the scholars of the time sitting here, contemplating the interchange of their ideas and knowledge. Among the many things that really caught my attention when I visited Turkey were how the country's natural wonders went perfectly well with its historical sites. You are not just visiting ancient ruins, you are seeing them in some of the most breathtaking landscapes you will ever encounter. Lake Mecca is one such place. It's a volcanic crater lake that was formed many years ago, with tranquil beauty drastically standing out as contrary to the dramatic surrounding background. It is not just a viewpoint, however. The lake has a history dating back to when a volcano erupted to create the shape of the lake. It's just amazing to think how this natural wonder can be shaped by forces not controlled, and how it makes you realize just how mingled nature and history are. And then there's Cappadocia, a region that looks like it's been plucked from another planet. The landscape is dotted with fairy chimneys, tall, thin rock formations that were created by volcanic eruptions millions of years ago. Over time, wind and water erosion sculpted these unusual shapes, And what's even more amazing is that people carved homes, churches, and monasteries into these rocks. It's hard to believe that such a mystical place exists on Earth. If you're lucky enough to take a hot air balloon ride over Cappadocia at sunrise, you'll see the entire landscape bathed in a soft golden light. It's a moment that stays with you, making you feel like you're floating through a dream. Speaking of otherworldly experiences, have you ever heard of Mount Ararat? That towering mountain in eastern Turkey is not only breathtakingly beautiful, but also tells a special place in the heart of many because of its biblical significance. It is said that this mountain was where Noah's Ark rested after the Great Flood. For centuries, explorers and adventurers have hunted for the remains of the Ark. Yet, no one has found definitive proof. Still, the legend lives on because the mountains is a wonder of imagination to all who see it. Another natural wonder of Turkey is Lake Tuz, commonly known as the Salt Lake. In fact, at first glance, you will notice the bright pink color of the lake, which seems to have stepped straight out of some fantasy novel. This is attributed to a special type of algae that thrives in salty conditions. The lake, however, is not just picturesque. Rather, it's full of salts that are known to contain minerals and are even said to have healing powers. Visitors pour in from all parts of the world to bask in the curative powers of the lake, and you'll frequently see tourists plastering themselves with the lake's mineral-rich mud in hopes of healing it of acne or soothing aching joints. And then, of course, there's the legends and myths. A good example is Yernartaş, also known as its more literal name, the Eternal Flame. These flames have been burning from small cracks in the mountainside for thousands of years. According to local legend, it is the origin of the myth about Chimera, a creature with the body of a goat, the head of a lion, and the tail of a serpent, said to breathe fire. Even today, the flame of Yernartaş continues to inspire visitors who look upon this natural wonder that will not go out in rain or shine. Another important monument is Mount Nemrod that feels as if it is something from a legend. Approximately 2,000 feet above the southeastern mountains of Turkey stands an ancient tomb sanctuary, flanked by giant statues of gods, animals, and the king who commissioned them to be produced, King Antiochus I. More than 2 millennia have elapsed, and this site is a witness to the dream of the king to unite Greece, Armenia, and Persia into a common culture. That makes one of those places where, within the air, you feel history, like spirits of the past are just watching. As you travel through Turkey, the difference for you will eventually be that every place has a story. Some of these stories are written in the architecture, such as grand mosques in Istanbul or ruins of ancient cities. Others whisper in the wind blown across mountains or reflected in lakes' still waters that mark millions of years. Then, there are the stories and legends and myths that continue to live on with generations. The old and the new exist here in Turkey in a potentially enchanting way, as if the soil has life and memories of all who have crossed on its surface. While moving forward to explore the treasures of Turkey, it would not be challenging not to get enthralled by how the two elements, nature and history, well blend together in this land. When you think you've heard it all, there's always something more spectacular, be it landscape or a marvel of old, that's round the corner, revealing another layer of itself, full of mystery and holding secrets waiting to be unraveled. Be it tranquility of lakes or the grandeur of mountains, Turkey has something that resonates with the soul of every traveler. One of the country's most bizarre lakes is one Lake Tuz, or the Salt Lake. If you ever get the chance to visit here, you'll understand why it's such a destination. The first thing that hits you is the surreal sight of its pink waters. Yes, pink. At some particular times of the year, this lake turns a bright pinkish color as a result of special algae thriving in this very salty environment. These algae, Dunaliella salina, are harmless and provide this lake with an otherworldly color. This place almost seems to be like a scene from a dream. You feel like you've moved to another planet where there are no rules of nature and everything is quite different. But beyond its visual beauty, Lake Tus is also known for its therapeutic properties. The salt from the lake contains 22 different minerals, many of which are believed to have healing qualities. Locals and tourists alike come here to enjoy the health benefits, especially for skin conditions like eczema and psoriasis. It's not uncommon to see people covering themselves in the lake's mineral-rich mud, letting it dry under the sun before rinsing off in the water. There's something about the ritual that feels ancient, as if you're tapping into a tradition that's been passed down for generations. From Lake Tus, let's head to another one of Turkey's natural wonders, Cappadocia. You've probably heard of it, or at least seen pictures of its famous fairy chimneys. But no matter how many photos you've seen, nothing can prepare you for the real thing. The landscape of Cappadocia is straight out of a fantasy book. These towering rock formations, shaped by millions of years of volcanic eruptions and erosion, look like something from another world. And what's even more incredible is how people have made homes in these rocks for centuries. You'll find entire towns carved into the stone, with houses, churches, and monasteries hidden within the fairy chimneys. Cappadocia is also famous for its hot air balloon rides. Now, I know hot air ballooning might sound a bit cliché, but trust me, floating over the landscape at sunrise is an experience you'll never forget. As the sun rises and bathes the rock formations in a soft golden light, you can't help but feel a sense of wonder. The colors, the shapes, the sheer vastness of it all. It's one of those moments where you feel truly connected to the world around you. If you ever get a chance to visit, make sure to book that balloon ride. It's one of those once-in-a-lifetime experiences that will stay with you forever. Tucked away in southeastern Turkey, Mount Nemrod is a towering summit that hides one of the most fascinating archaeological sites in the world. More than 2,000 years ago, King Antiochus I ordered the construction of a tomb sanctuary here, complete with colossal statues of gods, animals, and the king himself. What makes Mount Nemrod so special is not just the size of these statues, but what they represent. Antiochus wanted to create a place where the gods of Greece, Armenia, and Persia could come together, symbolizing unity and peace between different cultures. It's an incredible vision, and you can still feel the power of that idea when you stand among the statues, looking out over the rugged landscape below. The statues themselves are awe-inspiring, some of them reaching as high as 30 feet. You can see representations of Zeus, Hercules, and Apollo, each one carefully carved from the mountain's rock. Over time, many of the heads of these statues have fallen, and now they lie scattered across the site, adding an even more mystical feel to the place. It is as if the gods themselves once walked here, and now only their likeness remains, frozen in time. Visiting Mount Nemrod is like stepping into an ancient myth, where the line between history and legend blurs. Speaking of legends, Turkey is full of places that seem to have one foot in the real world and the other in the realm of myth. One of these places is Yirnatash, also known as the Eternal Flames. Imagine hiking up a rocky mountainside and coming across flames that flicker up from the ground, burning continuously without any visible source of fuel. These flames have been burning for thousands of years, and they've given rise to countless myths and stories. The most famous of these is the myth of the Chimera, a monstrous creature with the body of a goat, the head of a lion, and the tail of a serpent, said to breathe fire. Even today, you can visit Yirnatash and see the flames for yourself, marveling at this natural phenomenon that seems almost magical. And while we're on the topic of natural phenomenon, let's not forget about Turkey's waterfalls. Manavgat Waterfalls is one of the most popular, and it's easy to see why. Unlike some of the waterfalls that are tall and narrow, Manavgat is wide and powerful, cascading over a series of low cliffs. It's a sight to behold, especially during the rainy season when the water flows even more forcefully. But what makes Manavgat special is its year-round flow, thanks to the consistent water supply from the nearby Taurus Mountains. Whether you visit in the summer or winter, you're guaranteed to see the waterfall in all its glory. Tortum Waterfall, on the other hand, is the tallest in Turkey and equally impressive. What's fascinating about Tortum is that it's not just a pretty sight, it's also a source of renewable energy. Nearby, a hydroelectric power station harnesses the power of the waterfall to generate electricity, creating a perfect blend of natural beauty and modern technology. It's amazing to think that a place as ancient and untouched as Tortum can also be part of Turkey's sustainable future. But let's not stop there. If we travel a bit further, we come across Lake Van, the largest lake in Turkey, surrounded by dramatic mountain landscapes. Lake Van has its own mystery too, the legend of the Van Lake Monster. Similar to Scotland's Loch Ness Monster, the Van Lake Monster is said to be a giant creature that lurks beneath the lake's waters. Over the years, locals have claimed to have seen it, but no concrete evidence has ever been found. Whether you believe in the monster or not, there is no denying that Lake Van holds a certain magic. And if you visit Akdamar Island, which sits in the middle of the lake, you'll find the stunning Akdamar Church, an Armenian cathedral with intricate stone carvings depicting biblical scenes. The church stands as a testament to the island's rich history and the enduring beauty of Armenian architecture. Each of these places, the lakes, the waterfalls, the mountains, tells its own story. And what makes Turkey so remarkable is how these natural wonders and ancient sites exist side by side, as if they're part of the same narrative. You can explore a volcanic crater lake that's millions of years old in the morning, and by afternoon, you're standing in the ruins of a Roman theater or an ancient monastery. It's this combination of natural beauty and historical depth that makes Turkey such a unique and unforgettable destination. It's almost overwhelming, isn't it? The sheer beauty and history of Turkey just keeps unfolding the more you dive into it. Every time you think you've seen the best the country has to offer, you discover another hidden gem. That's the magic of Turkey. Whether it's the landscape that look like they've been painted by the hands of the gods, or ancient structures that whisper stories of the past, it's a place that leaves you constantly in awe. And we haven't even scratched the surface yet. One place that stands out, not just for its natural beauty, but also for its ancient roots, is Pamukkale. This stunning sight is like nothing you've ever seen before. Imagine cascading terraces of white, mineral-rich deposits that look like they've been sculpted by nature itself. These terraces are filled with warm, blue-tinted water that flows down from the mountains, creating a surreal scene that almost feels too perfect to be real. It's easy to understand why Pamukkale is often referred to as the Cotton Castle. The whole place looks like a gigantic sheet of soft cotton spread out over the landscape. But Pamukkale isn't just about the breathtaking looks. For thousands of years, people have been coming here to bathe in the warm, mineral-rich waters, believing they have healing properties. The ancient city of Hierapolis, which sits just above the terraces, was built by the Romans to take advantage of these natural springs. Walking through the ruins of Hierapolis, you can see how intertwined this place was with the hot springs below. People would come from far and wide to bathe in the thermal pools, hoping to cure their ailments and soak in the restorative powers of the water. One of the most famous legends around Pamukkale is tied to Greek mythology. It's said that the terraces were formed from the tears of the goddess Hera, who wept out of jealousy over Zeus's love for a mortal woman. These tears, they say, solidified into the stunning white formations we see today. While the legends might be a bit fanciful, there's no denying the sense of wonder you feel when standing at Pamukkale. It's a kind of place where history, mythology, and nature blend into something truly magical. From the bright white terraces of Pamukkale, we move to a different kind of wonder, one that's far darker and more mysterious. Turkey is home to the ancient city of Troy, made famous by Homer's Iliad and the legendary Trojan War. For centuries, Troy was thought to be nothing more than a myth, a city that existed only in stories passed down through the generations. But in the late 19th century, archaeologists made an incredible discovery. Beneath the dirt and rubble of what seemed like an ordinary hill, they found the ruins of Troy, proving that the legendary city was real. Today, visitors can walk through the remains of this ancient city, which holds over 4,000 years of history. One of the most fascinating things about Troy is that it's not just one city, it's actually 9 cities, each built on top of the other over thousands of years. As you explore the site, you can literally see the layers of history from the earliest settlement to the walls that would have stood during the time of the Trojan War. Of course, when you visit Troy, you can't help but think of the famous Trojan horse. According to legend, the Greeks left a giant wooden horse outside the city gates as a gift. But it was a trick. Hidden inside the horse were Greek soldiers who snuck out at night, opened the gates, and allowed the Greek army to enter Troy, leading to the city's downfall. Today, you can see a replica of the Trojan horse at the site, a reminder of the city's legendary past. Standing there, it's hard not to let your imagination run wild, picturing the epic battles that took place here and the stories that have been passed down through the ages. But Turkey's wonders aren't just limited to its ancient cities and natural springs. The country is also home to some of the most magnificent mosques in the world, each one a masterpiece of architecture and design. One mosque that stands out is the Blue Mosque in Istanbul. Built during the Ottoman Empire, the Blue Mosque is named for the thousands of blue tiles that line its interior walls. The sheer scale of the mosque is awe-inspiring, with its towering domes and 6 minarets reaching up into the sky. What's truly remarkable about the Blue Mosque is how it seamlessly blends Islamic architecture with elements from the Byzantine design. The interior is filled with intricate patterns and calligraphy, all of which comes together to create a sense of peace and reverence. And while the mosque is still used for prayer today, it's also open to visitors who want to experience its beauty firsthand. Whether you're religious or not, there's something incredibly moving about stepping inside the Blue Mosque and feeling the weight of history and faith all around you. Not far from the Blue Mosque is another of Turkey's architectural wonders, the Hagia Sophia. This iconic building has gone through several transformations over the centuries. It was originally built as a Christian cathedral in the Byzantine Empire, and for nearly 1,000 years it was the largest cathedral in the world. After the Ottoman conquest of Constantinople in 1453, the Hagia Sophia was converted into a mosque, with its Christian mosaics covered or removed and replaced with Islamic calligraphy. Today, the Hagia Sophia stands as both a mosque and a museum, a symbol of Turkey's rich and complex history. Walking through its massive halls, you can see the layers of history in every corner, from the remnants of Christian mosaics to the stunning Islamic art that now decorates the walls. It's a place where different cultures, religions, and empires have come together, and you can't help but feel the significance of that as you explore its vast spaces. But Turkey's architectural treasures aren't just limited to its cities. In the far east of the country, you'll find the stunning Ishak Pasha Palace, a masterpiece of Ottoman architecture. Built in the 17th century, the palace sits on a hill overlooking the plains and mountains of eastern Turkey, offering breathtaking views in every direction. Unlike many other Ottoman structures, the Ishak Pasha Palace wasn't just a fortress. It was a luxurious residence, complete with grand halls, gardens, and courtyards. One of the most striking features of the palace is its intricate stone carvings, which depict scenes from both Ottoman and Persian mythology. As you wander through the palace, you can almost imagine the sultans and their families living here, surrounded by beauty and luxury. The palace was also a center of governance, with its high walls and gates providing protection from invaders. Today, it stands as a symbol of the power and grandeur of the Ottoman Empire, a reminder of the country's rich architectural heritage. As you continue your journey through Turkey, you start to realize just how diverse the country's wonders are. From the bright terraces of Pamukkale to the ancient ruins of Troy, from the towering mosques of Istanbul to the remote places of the East, Turkey is a place that constantly surprises and delights. Every new destination feels like a discovery, a chance to step back in time and experience the beauty and history of this incredible land. As we continue our journey through Turkey, it's hard not to feel a sense of wonder at how this country manages to weave together its natural beauty, historical significance, and cultural richness into such an intricate tapestry. It feels like every corner of this land has a story to tell, and the deeper you go, the more captivating those stories become. What makes Turkey so special is not just the places you visit, but how those places make you feel like you're part of something much bigger, like you're walking through history, yet grounded in the beauty of the present moment. One place that truly embodies this feeling is the ancient city of Ephesus. Imagine walking along streets that were once bustling with Roman traders, philosophers, and politicians. The ruins of Ephesus might be crumbling now, but the city's grandeur is still palpable. You can see it in the massive columns, the remnants of once great buildings, and the intricately carved statues that have survived for centuries. And as you stand in the great theater of Ephesus, which once held up to 25,000 spectators, you can almost hear the voices of the past echoing around you. Ephesus was more than just a city. It was a cultural and intellectual hub of the ancient world. People from all over came here to discuss politics, philosophy, and art. The city's library, the Library of Celsus, was one of the largest in the ancient world, and its beautifully reconstructed facade still draws admiration today. Standing in front of it, you can't help but wonder about the scholars who once gathered here to exchange ideas, and how those ideas might have shaped the course of history. But Ephesus isn't just about the intellectuals and the politicians. It was also a place of spiritual significance. The Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, once stood here. Although only a few columns remain today, the temple's legacy is still felt. It was a massive structure built to honor the goddess Artemis, and it attracted worshippers from all over the ancient world. The fact that such a grand monument was built here speaks to the importance of Ephesus, not just as a city, but as a spiritual center. From the ruins of Ephesus, let's head to a place that's quite the opposite, a place where nature is the main attraction. Lake Solda, often referred to as the Turkish Maldives, is one of the most beautiful natural wonders in Turkey. With its dazzling turquoise waters and white sandy shores, it's easy to see why people compare it to the famous tropical islands. But what makes Lake Solda truly unique is its connection to space. Scientists believe that the mineral-rich deposits found here, particularly hydromagnesite, are similar to minerals found on Mars. In fact, NASA has studied the lake to better understand the surface of the red planet. It's incredible to think that a lake in Turkey could hold clues to the mysteries of a planet millions of miles away. Lake Solda is known for its healing properties. The water is rich in minerals that are believed to be beneficial for the skin, and visitors often come to bathe in the lake's mud, hoping to rejuvenate their skin and ease joint pain. There's something almost magical about this place. Standing on its shores, looking out at the crystal clear water, you feel a deep sense of peace. It's as if the lake itself holds the power to heal not just your body, but your soul as well. But Turkey's natural wonders don't end there. Not far from Lake Salda is the Manavgat Waterfall, a wide and powerful cascade that flows year-round, fed by the Taurus Mountains. Unlike some waterfalls that dry up during certain seasons, Manavgat's continuous flow makes it a sight to behold no matter when you visit. The waterfall isn't particularly tall, but its width and the sheer volume of water rushing over the cliffs create a sense of awe. The sound of the water crashing down is almost hypnotic, and it's easy to lose yourself in the beauty of the moment. And then there's Tortum Waterfall, Turkey's tallest waterfall, located in the northeastern part of the country. What makes Tortum Waterfall special isn't just its height or its stunning landscape that surrounds it, but how it's been harnessed for renewable energy. Nearby, a hydroelectric power station uses the force of the waterfall to generate electricity, creating a perfect blend of natural beauty and modern technology. It's a testament to how Turkey manages to preserve its natural wonders while also embracing innovation and progress. Built during the reign of Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, this ancient theater is one of the best preserved in the world. What's truly impressive about Aspendos is how well its acoustics were designed. Even today, if you stand on the stage and speak in a normal voice, your words can be heard clearly in the uppermost seats. It's no wonder that the theater is still used for performances and festivals. Sitting in the audience, watching a play or a concert, you feel like you're connected to centuries of history, as if the voices of the past are still resonating through the walls. Not far from the theater is another incredible feat of Roman engineering, the Aspendos Aqueduct. This massive structure, which once supplied water to the city, stretches across valleys, hills, and even swamps. The Romans were masters of building aqueducts that could carry water over long distances, and the fact that parts of the Aspendos Aqueduct are still standing today, more than 1800 years later, is a testament to their ingenuity. Walking along the aqueduct, you can't help but marvel at the skill and precision that went into its construction. It's hard to imagine a world without modern technology, where something as simple as running water was a luxury that required complex engineering. And speaking of water, we can't forget about another one of Turkey's most remarkable lakes, Lake Van. The largest lake in the country, Lake Van is known for its deep blue color and the dramatic mountain landscapes that surround it. But what makes Lake Van truly fascinating is the legend of the Van Lake Monster. Similar to Scotland's Loch Ness Monster, the Van Lake Monster is said to be a giant creature that lurks beneath the lake's surface. Over the years, locals have reported sightings of the creature, but no definitive evidence has ever been found. Whether or not the monster is real, the legend adds an air of mystery to the lake, making it even more intriguing to visitors. On a small island within Lake Van sits Akdamar Church, also known as the Cathedral of the Holy Cross. This Armenian church is a stunning example of medieval architecture, with its walls covered in intricate stone carvings that depict scenes from the Bible. The church's location on an island adds to its sense of isolation and spirituality, making it a peaceful retreat for those seeking solace and reflection. It's a place where history and nature come together in perfect harmony, creating a serene and sacred atmosphere. As you explore Turkey, it becomes clear that this is a country where contrasts come together to create something truly special. You have the towering mountains and the tranquil lakes, the ancient ruins and the modern cities, the legends of the past and the innovations of the present. It's a place that invites you to slow down, to take in the beauty of your surroundings, and to reflect on the stories that have shaped this land. As we continue this journey through Turkey, it's impossible not to feel completely immersed in the stories and beauty that surrounds every corner of the country. Each step feels like a new adventure, whether you're marveling at ancient ruins or gazing at landscapes that look like they belong in a painting. What makes Turkey so special is the way it effortlessly bridges the gap between the past and present, creating a seamless flow of history, nature, and culture. By now, it's clear that there's so much more to discover. One of the most striking places to visit in Turkey is the Cappadocia region, which, in many ways, feels like stepping into another world. I've mentioned the fairy chimneys before, but there's something about seeing them up close that makes the experience even more surreal. These tall, thin rock formations, shaped by volcanic eruptions and eroded over millions of years, create a landscape that seems almost alien. The sight of these chimneys rising up from the ground like natural towers is enough to take your breath away. And as you wander through the valleys, you can't help but feel like you've entered some kind of fantastical realm. What makes Cappadocia even more remarkable is the way people have adapted to this unique landscape over the centuries. It's one thing to admire the fairy chimneys from a distance, but it's a whole other experience to discover that many of these formations have been hollowed out and used as homes, churches, and monasteries. People carved entire towns into the rock, creating underground cities that could house thousands of people. These cities weren't just simple shelters, they were fully functional communities, complete with living quarters, kitchens, and even wine cellars. When you explore places like Derinkuyu, an ancient underground city in Cappadocia, you can't help but be amazed at the ingenuity and resourcefulness of the people who lived here. One of the most unforgettable experiences in Cappadocia is taking a hot air balloon ride at sunrise. Now, I know it might sound a little touristy, but trust me, there's a reason why so many people rave about this experience. Picture this. You're floating gently above the fairy chimneys, watching the sun slowly rise and bathe the landscape in a warm golden light. As you drift through the sky, you can see the entire region spread out below you, with its winding valleys, hidden caves, and distant mountains. It's a view like no other, and in that moment, you feel completely at peace, as if you're part of the landscape itself. If you ever get the chance to visit Cappadocia, the hot air balloon ride is something you absolutely can't miss. Located in the Taurus Mountains, Sakalassos was once a thriving Roman city known for its culture and trade. Today, the ruins of Sakalassos stand as a testament to the city's former glory, with impressive structures like the large theater, public baths, and fountains still visible. What's incredible about Sakalassos is how well preserved many of these ruins are, thanks in part to the rubble that buried the city after a series of earthquakes in the 7th century. The rubble protected the remains of the city, allowing them to stay hidden and intact for centuries until they were rediscovered. As you walk through the ruins of Sakalassos, you can easily imagine what life must have been like for the people who lived here. The city was known for its sophisticated urban planning and architecture, with wide streets, grand buildings, and elaborate fountains that provided fresh water to its citizens. One of the most stunning features of Sakalassos is the Antonine Nymphaeum, a beautifully preserved fountain that once flowed with water from the surrounding mountains. Standing in front of this fountain, with its intricate carvings and majestic backdrop of mountains, you can almost hear the sound of water trickling down, bringing the city to life. But Sakalassos isn't just a place for history lovers. It's also a haven for nature enthusiasts. The city is surrounded by lush green landscapes, and the view from the ruins is nothing short of spectacular. You can see for miles, with the rolling hills and distant mountains creating a stunning panorama that feels almost untouched by time. It's easy to lose yourself in the beauty of the place, to sit on a stone ledge and simply take in the view, letting the peacefulness of the surroundings wash over you. As we move from the ruins of Sakalassos to another one of Turkey's hidden treasures, we come across the town of Kayaköy. Unlike the bustling cities of the past, Kayaköy is a ghost town, a once thriving village that now stands abandoned, its stone houses and churches slowly crumbling under the weight of time. Walking through the narrow streets of Kayaköy is a haunting experience. You can feel the presence of the people who once lived here, and there's a certain melancholy in the air, as if the village is holding on to its memories, even as it falls into ruin. Kayakür's history is tied to the Greco-Turkish War, which led to the population exchange between Greece and Turkey in the early 20th century. The Greek Orthodox residents of Kayakür were forced to leave, and the village was left abandoned. Today, it serves as a symbol of the difficult history between the two nations. But it's also a place of reflection and reconciliation. There have been efforts to restore parts of Kayakür, not to bring it back to life, but to preserve it as a reminder of the past. As you wander through the empty streets and peer into the old houses, you can't help but feel a sense of respect for the people who once called this place home. But let's not end on a somber note. Turkey is full of surprises, and one of the most pleasant surprises is the city of Antalya. Situated along the Mediterranean coast, Antalya is often referred to as the gateway to the Turkish Riviera. It's a vibrant city with a rich history, but it's also a place where you can relax and enjoy the simple pleasures in life. With its beautiful beaches, charming old town, and warm Mediterranean climate, Antalya has something for everyone. One of the highlights of Antalya is the Duden Waterfalls. The waterfalls are split into two sections: the upper Duden Waterfalls, where the river appears, and the lower Duden Waterfalls, where the water cascades into the Mediterranean Sea from a high cliff. Standing at the edge of the lower Duden Waterfalls, with the sound of the water crashing down into the sea below, you feel like you're on the edge of the world. It's a sight to behold, and it's easy to see why this spot is so popular with locals and tourists alike. Antalya is also home to the ancient city of Phasaelis, which dates back to the 7th century BC. Phasaelis was once an important trading port, connecting the cultures of Greece, Asia, Egypt, and Phoenicia. Today, you can explore the ruins of this ancient city with its well-preserved Roman aqueduct, theater, and ancient streets. What makes Phasaelis particularly special is its location, right on the coast with the turquoise waters of the Mediterranean Sea lapping at its shores. It's a place where history meets the sea, and as you walk along the sandy beaches, you can almost feel the centuries of trade, culture, and connection that once passed through here. It's amazing how every part of Turkey has its own personality, isn't it? Each region feels like a new discovery, and just when you think you've seen it all, the country surprises you again. There's something about the way Turkey holds onto its past while embracing the present that makes it so captivating. The deeper you go, the more you realize just how much this land has to offer, whether it's ancient cities frozen in time, landscapes that look like they've been pulled from a dream, or local traditions that have been passed down through generations. One of the places where this blend of history and nature is most evident is Mount Nemrod. High in the mountains of southeastern Turkey, this UNESCO World Heritage Site feels almost like a secret tucked away from the rest of the world. The mountaintop is home to one of the most incredible archaeological sites you'll ever see. Giant stone heads of ancient gods, animals, and kings, all carefully carved and placed here more than 2,000 years ago by King Antiochus I. What makes this site so unique isn't just the sheer scale of the statues, but the story behind them. King Antiochus I had a great vision. He wanted to unite the gods of Greek, Persian, and Armenian cultures, and he chose this remote mountaintop to build his tomb and sanctuary. The massive stone heads that surrounded his burial mound represents different gods from these cultures, standing as a testament to his dream of unity and peace. The statues are enormous, some towering over 30 feet high, and the way they're positioned around the mountaintop feels almost otherworldly. When you visit Nemrod, especially at sunrise or sunset, the golden light casts a magical glow over the statues, making you feel like you've stepped into a forgotten myth. The wind whips across the mountain, and as you stand among the ancient stones, you can't help but feel a connection to the past. It's one of those places that makes you reflect on the idea of legacy. How these ancient rulers left behind something so grand that it continues to inspire awe thousands of years later. And yet, despite the passage of time, the statues at Mount Nemrod remain remarkably well preserved. They've weathered centuries of earthquakes, storms and invasions, but they still stand tall, watching over the landscape as they have for millennia. Located in the eastern part of the country, Lake Van is the largest lake in Turkey, and its deep blue waters are framed by rugged mountains that stretch out as far as the eye can see. The lake has an almost mythical quality to it, and it's easy to see why. There's even a local legend about a creature that supposedly lurks beneath its surface, known as the Van Lake Monster. While there's no solid evidence of the monster's existence, the mystery adds a layer of intrigue to the already stunning scenery. Lake Van is also home to Akdamar Island, a small island that houses one of the most beautiful Armenian churches in the world, the Church of the Holy Cross. Built in the 10th century, the church's stone walls are covered with intricate carvings that depict scenes from the Bible as well as Armenian history. Standing in front of this ancient church with its still waters of the lake behind you, it's not hard to feel a sense of awe at the artistry and craftsmanship that went into creating it. The island itself feels like a sanctuary, a peaceful, almost sacred place that offers a moment of quiet reflection amidst the grandeur of nature. Another fascinating stop along our journey through Turkey is the town of Harran, one of the oldest continuously inhabited places in the world. Harran is famous for its beehive-shaped houses, which are made from mud and brick and have been providing shelter to the people of the region for centuries. What's remarkable about these houses is how practical their design is. The beehive shapes helps keep the interior cool during the hot summer months and warm during the chilly winters, making them perfectly suited to the harsh climate of the region. But Harran isn't just known for its unique architecture. It also has a deep connection to the ancient history and religion. According to tradition, this is the place where the prophet Abraham lived for a time, and the town has been an important center of learning and spirituality for thousands of years. Walking through Harran's narrow streets, you can almost feel the weight of history beneath your feet. It's one of those places that feels frozen in time, where the past and present coexist in perfect harmony. Side is one of those places that manages to capture both the beauty of nature and the grandeur of ancient civilizations. Situated right on the coast, Side was once a major trading post during the Roman era, and the ruins of the city are incredibly well preserved. One of the most impressive sights in Side is the Temple of Apollo, which stands right at the water's edge. The temple's towering columns frame the sky, and the view of the Mediterranean stretching out behind it is nothing short of breathtaking. There's something magical about visiting Side at sunset. As the sun dips below the horizon, the light turns golden, and the ruins of the temple take on a soft glow. You can sit on the ancient stones and watch as the sea turns from blue to deep orange, and in that moment, it feels like you're part of something timeless. The combination of the ruins, the sea, and the setting sun creates a sense of peace that's hard to describe, but impossible to forget. Just a short distance from Side is another one of Turkey's natural wonders, the Köprülü Canyon. This stunning canyon, carved by the Köprü River, stretches for miles through the rugged landscape of southern Turkey. It's a paradise for nature lovers and adventure seekers alike, with its crystal-clear waters, towering cliffs, and lush forests. The canyon is home to one of the longest wooden walking trails in the world, which winds its way along the canyon walls, offering incredible views of the river below. For those looking for a bit more excitement, Köprülü Canyon is also a top spot for whitewater rafting. The river's rapids provide the perfect challenge for thrill seekers, and the experience of navigating the rushing waters as the canyon walls rise up around you is nothing short of exhilarating. Whether you're hiking along the trails or rafting down the river, Köprülü Canyon is a place that invites you to immerse yourself in nature and experience its raw beauty firsthand. As we continue our exploration of Turkey, it's not hard to be impressed by the diversity of the landscapes and experiences this country has to offer. From the ancient temples and bustling coastal cities to the remote mountains and tranquil lakes, every part of Turkey has its own unique charm. And yet, despite the differences, there's a sense of continuity that ties it all together, a deep connection to the past, and a respect for the natural world that can be felt in every corner of the country. Perhaps what's most remarkable about Turkey is how it manages to balance these contrasts so effortlessly. It's a country that's both ancient and modern, where the old ways still live on, even as the country embraces progress and innovation. It's a place where you can stand in the ruins of an ancient temple one day and hike through a pristine canyon the next. It's a land of stories, some written in stone, others whispered by the wind, and it invites you to become a part of these stories, to explore, to learn, and to experience the magic of a place where history and nature come together in perfect harmony. By now, it's clear that Turkey is more than just a destination. It's an experience, one that stays with you long after you've left. Whether you're drawn to its ancient ruins, its stunning landscapes, or its rich cultural traditions, Turkey has something to offer every traveler. And as we continue to explore its wonders, we're reminded that there's always something new to discover, something just beyond the horizon waiting to be explored. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.